it's Saturday the 5th of January 2013. Chris Reardon welcoming you to today's United Kingdom talk, boys and girls. Here we are at the beginning of a new year once again. I hope you enjoyed the New Year's Day show that we had with the great news about Katie, who is just almost normal now. I noticed she sleeps a lot now. I gather I did speak to the vet, and she said, well, it's her age. The running about she was doing before the operation was actually caused by the overactive thyroid gland. She was a bit like a kitten running around. She was like something possessed sometimes. We're not attacking, just running around the house like madness. And so she is still doing much better. One of the other things, you might be wondering, those of you that watch the show are probably wondering why I'm sitting here today I'm wearing a large blue, I don't know what you call it. It's what it is. I'm wearing this blue thing, and you literally throw it over the front of you, and you sit in the settee, and it's a wonderful thing. And it was bought for me by my nephew Gary and his wife Stacey, and of course their little girl Evie, and it's called a Night Zone Cozy Snuggle. And it says, keeps you warm and your hands free, and my hands are free. This thing, and you just throw it over the front of yourself. One size fits all. And the only thing is, it's this fleece stuff, which is lovely and warm, but I don't seem to get on with fleece. Any bit of metal that I touch will give me some sort of an electric shock. And it is quite nice, I must say, very warm. And hopefully this will lead me to turning on my heating even less than I do usually, because you know I don't like to turn that heating on, dear. Oh, no. Of course, the good news is, so thank you very much for that, Gary and Stacey. Wonderful gift that they gave me. I'm going to show you my other gifts in a moment. And this is actually quite nice and warm. I have got underneath it my tracksuit, my hooded grey top actually. But yes, it's lovely and warm. So I did say to them I shall wear this in one of my shows. It's got pockets and everything. Let me stand up, and it goes all the way down onto the floor, and so you can just put this on. So there's nothing on the back, you see. You just put this over the front of you, hoist it over your shoulders. Is that crackling or not? Hoist it over your shoulders and relax in the settee. Not that I ever have time to relax. I do like this very much. Thank you for that. And pockets to put things in, and they'll probably fill up with dirty old tissues. Do you know what I mean? I don't often throw them away very often. Do you have lots of tissues in your pockets that have kind of been there for a while and starting to stick together? And you know when, I need to blow my nose, and you pull out this tissue from a pocket, and as you try and pull it apart because it's all stuck together with years worth of snot. How awful is it? So this is just one of my gifts. What else did I receive? I must show you these other things from my other niece. Not other niece, I only got one niece. From my niece Tracy and her husband Ben and baby George, a little money box, right, with a picture of my nephew George on the front. And on the other side, it's rainbow, up above the streets and houses. It was a TV programme here in the UK years ago. And again, another picture of baby George on there, making a strange face at me. So she says that's so I can save all my coins in there. So thank you for that. Also, a Lynx, what is this, like a deodorant and shower gel type set. So thank you for that. Here we are. Look at this. A retro handset. Now, a retro handset is like an old-fashioned telephone handset, right? Now, in this case, this is red. So you imagine, those of you listening to the show, you imagine an old-style handset, for your telephone, and it's red. And on the end of it is a little jack plug, and you simply plug it into your iPhone. And it can be used as and when. I've already tried it out, and it does work. It's very good indeed. A little volume thing on the side and everything, so I'm quite pleased with that as well. Especially as my other nephew, Jimmy's got one, and his one doesn't have, doesn't have a volume control on the side. So I think I've got a better one than you, Jimmy. So there you are. So that's that. Anything else to show you? Oh, from my sister. something. She said, what do you want? My sister said, what do you want? And I asked her for 3 glass storage things with plastic. You see, because at the moment I've got plastic storage things, you know, what you put in the freezer. So say you're making a large portion of chili con carne, okay, and so you eat some of it and freeze the rest. Well, what I've got at the moment are plastic ones. The only thing is you only use them once and then they stain. You know what I mean, ladies, don't you? Oh, you know what I mean with those Tupperware boxes, dear. I mean, they're wonderful when they're new. The moment you use them, they stain. You know, and you can't get rid of this stain. So I thought, well, there must be some glass ones. So I gave my sister a challenge of finding what I had, but glass versions, and indeed she has done. And they're Pyrex, and they've got a plastic top, okay? And see what you do, you do your food and you put it in there, you put the plastic top on and put it in the freezer. And she got me 3. She got me 2 large ones, 2 very large ones. What you could do, a very large cottage pie in there, vegetarian cottage pie in there, and 2 large ones and 1 small one as well. And I'm much grateful for that, Sharon. My dear sister bought me that. What else have I got here? What else? My sister bought me something else. Oh, there it is. She bought me this British Comedy Greats. It's a book and a DVD, and it's Ronnie Barker, who's, as far as I was concerned, one of the funniest people ever. He used to be huge with Ronnie, the 2 Ronnies, of course, Ronnie Barker and Ronnie Corbett. He was huge in the 70s and 80s with comedy-type programmes. And he sadly died. Was it last year or the year before? I think he died. But a great man, and I shall enjoy watching that. So again, thank you for that, sis. A few other bits and pieces. I don't think I brought them into the room. I showed you the boots yesterday, didn't I? My new boots. Oh, and I must show you this, because I told you, didn't I? I knew there was something else in Marge's envelope that I'd forgotten. Oh, well, after the last show, I got this very angry letter come towards me, dear, telling me you didn't show them the money. You didn't show the money. Because Marj, I said this to you. This is the one who sent me the Kit Kat, Marj, the American Kit Kat. I meant to go and get some Kit Kats and show you the British ones because they're completely different. And she sent me a little letter. Hi, Chris. Hope you're having a good Christmas. This $5, and she sends me a $5 bill. Look at this. Here it is. A $5 bill, dear. I hope it's not a dodgy one, is it, Marj? Eh? You know, because I don't want to be trying to spend this in New York, and suddenly they say, oh, this is, and then I'll be surrounded by police and guns and helicopters and everything and taken off and placed in one of those prisons, penal prison. Is it a penal prison you call it there? Penal Institute, something like that? Anyway, she says, hi, Chris. Hope you're having a good Christmas. This $5 is for your birthday when you come to America. Eat at McDonald's or somewhere. So, as you said, McDonald's, I will indeed eat at McDonald's. I shall have a veggie burger and chips. And probably the best thing McDonald's do is apple pies, of course. I love the McDonald's apple pies, and there's usually 2 for... It's cheaper to get 2, isn't it? You know, usually. Well, it's cheaper to get 1, but if you buy 2, you get the other one half price or something. So I shall probably do that, Marj. All right. Thank you very much for my $5, and thank you for reminding me, because that was actually stuck in my work bag. Do you see what I mean? And when I read out the thing last week, I of course only brought out the envelope that the thing was in, didn't I? And I left that in there, a lovely green envelope. So thanks for that, Marj. Right, there is some more emails to go through today, but I have to tell you, you heard about the cat, of course, her illness after the operation, and now she is now recovering, I'm very pleased to say. That wasn't the only thing. So Christmas Day I spent indoors. Boxing Day, in the morning, I thought I'd go up and visit my mate, because he lives around here, my best mate Ron. Oh, by the way, I know we said we would do a show at Ronnie's house with the Christmas tree and all that, and he was going to do a Christmas message. I'm afraid it's not going to happen. No, we just weren't able to get our times together to be able to do that, so sorry about that. And the commemorative plate as well. I didn't show you how to make the commemorative plate, did I? But perhaps in a future show we'll be able to do that, okay? Because there doesn't need to be necessarily a Christmas thing, a commemorative plate. Maybe Ronnie can do you a New Year's message. I could ask him to do that, couldn't I, really? see if he's interested in doing that, and we can get together on the times for that one. Yes, so Boxing Day, I decided to walk up to my mate's house. So I left the house about, it doesn't take too long to get up there, about 11:15. I went on my journey, and as I got near to his house, on like a path which is kind of around the side to the back of his house, it's quite quiet there. Usually you don't see anyone. There were two lots of people. And one, sort of, as I joined the path, one lot of people were behind me coming towards me, and another man on his own was coming the other way, so that's towards me. Now, the man in front of me had one of those dogs, what do you call it, not a pit bull, a Staffy, Staffordshire Bull Terrier type dog, okay? And these things are solid muscle, you know, there's not an ounce of fat on these dogs. And the lady behind me, she had a dog as well. I can't remember what it was. I think it was a black Labrador or something like that, I think it was. Anyway, so I'm walking along, no problem. The dogs didn't look at me menacingly or anything like that. Indeed, the dogs didn't attack me. But all of a sudden, this Staffy in front of me took a dislike to the dog behind me and shot off from its owner. I can't remember, you kind of had a lead on, I suppose. Shot off from its owner after this other dog, knocking me flying. I could not believe. It's funny now, it is. I absolutely went flying and ended up on the floor. And the dog had hit the side of my knee. And I was in the floor, let me tell you, absolute agony. It was really hurting. And I couldn't believe how simply a dog running past you like that could end up with such a pain in your knee. But there we are, it happened anyway. So I was sort of on the floor, and everyone came over. There was about, I think there were 3 ladies and the chap as well, and he was very apologetic. So he said, can you get up? And at the point there, I couldn't move. I could not get up. It was so painful. Anyway, so I was down on the floor for about 3 or 4 minutes, I suppose. Not knocked out. And as I say, I stress again, I was not attacked by the dog, okay? And, well, eventually I got up and I managed, and he said, are you all right? And yes, that's okay. Do you want me to take you home? He said, no. I said, okay. I'm just walking up to my mate's house. He's only around the corner. And I managed to continue my journey, albeit hobbling, round to my best mate's house, Ronnie. Well, as bloody luck would have it, you know, he wasn't, he fast asleep and he wasn't answering the door. I thought, oh no, I didn't have my keys because I have some keys for his house as well. And, oh God, I sat there about 10 minutes outside waiting, hoping that he would get up, ringing the bell. But there was no noise at all, so I thought, well, you're going to have to go home. So I managed to hobble home, and I got home and kind of rested the leg, and I thought, oh, I'll go to bed later and maybe it'll be all right then. So I went to bed around about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. And at 5 o'clock it was really painful, and I thought, oh no, well, something's happened here. So I rang up my mate, and I said, my leg is really hurting. So I told him what happened, and he said, I'll come round, I'll take you to the hospital. I said, I don't know if it needs that. He said, well, do you think it needs that? I said, well, it's hurting a lot. He said, yeah, I'll come round. I said, so I tried to get out, I couldn't get out of bed. It was so painful. Anyway, eventually I did manage to get out of bed, and he came round, and I met him at the door, and I was actually crying with pain. It hurt so much. Not like that. You know, with tears coming out of my eyes because it was so blooming painful. We managed to get to the hospital, and we went to Frimley Park General Hospital. This is on Boxing Night. Okay, so this happened about 11:30 in the morning. It's now about 5:45 in the evening. So we went to the hospital. As luck would have it, the waiting was pretty empty in there. So I was seen within half an hour, I suppose. And there was a nurse sitting there, and a couple of times me and my mate, you know, we tried to talk to her. She was a right miserable old bloody cow. Real miserable, and she had a death thing in as well, you know. Not that that's anything to do with it, but she was just miserable. You know, like I said, oh, you're not very busy in here at the moment. We're busy earlier. Oh, all right, okay, fair enough. You know, I'm really miserable, and I thought, well, you don't need to be like that. But there was another nurse there who was really nice, and she was the one that dealt with me. And, you know, I was on a wheelchair at this time. Ronnie had put us in a wheelchair, and she said, "Can you get over to walk over there?" And he says, "Oh, I'll push him over there." And I said, "No, she wants me to walk." And the nurse said, "Yes, we want to see how this looks." So I got up from the wheelchair and managed to hobble across to this, I suppose, examination chair of some sort like that, you know. And got over there and sat down and had my leg up. And she said, "Can you bend it up and down?" "Yeah." "Can you go left or right?" "Yeah." She kind of twisted it a little bit. "Does that hurt?" "No." Then she twisted it really hard. "Does that hurt?" "No." "Okay, fair enough." And then she started pushing it with her finger in various different places, the knee. And she said, "Tell me where it hurts." And, "Ah, there you go." And she had a finger right on it. So there were actually 2 places that it hurt. She said, "Well, I don't think there's any bone damage, but we'll now send you for an x-ray." So I went down to x-ray. Again, it only took about 5 minutes. We were sitting there waiting for the x-ray, about 5 minutes, that's all. Went into this thing, and I had a massive machine hanging down from the wall. And I was impressed with this. A nice lady from the Philippines, I think she was a nurse, doing the photo. Remember, this is Boxing Day, you know, doing the x-rays. So they took 2 pictures of my knee, one at the front, one at the side. Then I come back, we went back to wait in where the original nurse had looked at me and all that. And that was the x-rays come back as fine. So she told me it was likely, you know, you've damaged your cartilage or ligaments or both. She says, "We're going to put a splint on, which will keep your legs straight. And you'll need to leave that on between 2 and 12 days, depending. Take it off and see how it is. And also we'll give you a couple of crutches. Here's an appointment to come back in 2 weeks' time." Okay, so fine, that was it. So the other nurse, the miserable one, was given the task of putting this leg thing on. So I'm laying on this bed and flat leg, and she did it, you know, as good as a nurse can do it. No complaints about her work. She was just a bit bloody miserable, that's all. And once it was forced to remain straight, there was no more pain. You see what I mean? The pain was being caused when I was bending it backwards and forwards, and I've actually got the splint here. It's called a cricket splint, and you put it kind of around the back of your leg. And then you do it up at the front, and then your knee kind of shows through a hole in the middle, right? And I've actually got it here. And then you strap it up, and it's got those Velcro things, and you pull it tight, and it keeps your legs straight, stops it from moving. And of course, once this was on, there was no more pain, really. So I'm hobbling along, learning the crutches quite quickly. As I'm going out, that miserable nurse, she said, "Keep your back up, don't look down." And I walked along a bit further. She said, "I told you, keep your head up. You'll fall over." Okay, fair enough. I suppose she's only doing her job. She could just be just a little bit more nice about it. You know what I mean? So once that thing was on, it was quite difficult actually to get in the car. There was also an elderly lady there who had been seen and was waiting to be taken home, only to be informed that it was now, what was the time now? About 8 o'clock at night. Only to be informed that the hospital taxi service had now stopped. You know, it stopped at a certain time, and she needed to get her home on her own accord. So that would have meant a cab, and a cab on Boxing Night. You're looking at a lot of money there. So we overheard her say that she was from Bracknell. So Ronnie kindly offered her a lift, and she sat in the back of the car and was very grateful for the lift home. I don't know what her name was, but she had I think she had meant to gone in for an operation, and they cancelled it at the last minute or something like that. I don't know. But she was also a little bit better, so she was quite pleased. So we had a little chat with her in the car, and it was nice to do something, for him to do something for someone on Christmas time, you know, and it saved her probably £100 in a cab. I guess they would have charged her something ridiculously high like that. So I got home, Boxing Night, and of course, I'm sitting there on the settee with my leg up, told not to use it. And I thought, well, it's Boxing Night now. I had my mate's 50th birthday party to do on Saturday, you know, as DJ and carrying all the equipment. And also New Year's Eve was just around the corner, and I said to one, I said, well, I don't know what to do. I said, at the moment, I can't do anything unless someone can drive me there and bring me back. So 2 jobs that I do during the week, the Thursday and the Friday, are just basically drive there, set up my laptop, DJ, unset up the laptop, and come home again. So those 2 jobs I could do, because Ronnie could take me there and back again, right? Put me in position and just leave me for a couple of hours, and then the job is finished, and then take me home again. So they were possible. But when it comes to speakers and wires and mixers and cables, that's a different thing altogether. And I said, oh, he said, wait a couple of days and see how it is. I said, well, you know, the birthday party I'm supposed to do is in a couple of days. What if it's not ready by then? He said, well, I think you should leave it. And I said, no. I said, no. The people need to know as soon as possible, you know. Because you can't get to the day, and then suddenly you find you can't do it. And it's that morning, I'm sorry, I can't turn up. That's terrible. They've got to be informed. They have to be told as soon as possible, so there is time to get someone. So I rang up my mate. I said, look, first of all, I took a picture of myself with the splint in and the crutches. I said, oh no, what's happened? So I told him, I said, the problem is, this means I don't think I can do your do. He said, don't worry. And he was fine about it straight away. He said, don't worry about it at all. We'll try and get someone else. If not, I'll knock together some music and play that. He said, the main thing is you'll get your leg. And I felt so bad that, you know, through no fault of my own, I had to let someone down. I felt so bad, but nevertheless, the phone call was made, put the phone down, and that was it. And fortunately, the very next day, that would be Thursday, was it Thursday? Yes, that would be Thursday. The next day, he sent me a message to say that he'd found someone to do it, and I was so pleased to hear that, although not pleased that I wasn't able to do it. Nothing to do with being paid for anything, it's the fact that I'd let someone down. You see what I mean? I know it wasn't my fault, but I still feel like that, you understand? I'm old school here. So I put the phone down, the leg was about the same, it was stuck up in his splint, and I thought, now what do I do about New Year's Eve? You know, there's 4 days between now and New Year's Eve. And I thought, you know what? I thought, I can't risk it. So I rang up someone else who was supposed to be doing a New Year's Eve for, and I said, look, this is the situation. I said, I can wait a couple of days. I said, but actually I'd rather you found someone else, because I can't be sure that it's going to be okay. I said, I get a feeling it will be, but I can't be sure it will. I can't be sure, so I think you need to find somebody. No problem at all, Chris. He said, thanks for letting us know this early. I'll be able to fill that, no problem at all. He said, thanks for, and I put the phone down then, and that was it. And I thought, sat there, I thought, well, that's it then, you know, I've sorted it out. So, of course, I had, that was a Thursday. So I had work Thursday. I was able to be taken by my mate in there, helped into position, left in it, taken home again, and the same on the Friday. So Saturday, of course, was the day we should have done the mobile disco. Again, I didn't do anything, but I think it was Saturday afternoon, was it? Yes, let me think. Saturday morning, I took the splint off, and I was able to bend my knee without any problem. There was a little bit of pain now and again, and I thought, I wonder if I can drive now. So I sat in the car. And, you know, it's the clutch foot. I don't know what you call it in the States, so here it's a clutch foot. Moving the clutch, and I thought, well, that's no problem. There was no pain at all. So all my feet were able to operate as normal. I thought, do you know, I can drive now. So, of course, I've got Saturday. I'd cancelled Sunday for the karaoke. Again, that was involving speaker lifting and what have you. And the Monday was, of course, New Year's Eve, and that had been cancelled as well. So I thought, oh, you know, I could have done these jobs now. I probably couldn't have done the Saturday one, but because of the lifting of the speakers, but I bet I could do the New Year's Eve. And I thought, well, that's the way it is. And I thought, what shall I do? I just sit at home, I suppose. And I thought, no, I'll go to my sister's. So I went to my sister's house. Although I could drive, I didn't because I thought it would be a bit dangerous. And my nephew Gary came to pick me up all the way from Lincolnshire. He came to pick me up and took me up there. And for a couple of days up there for the Christmas that I wasn't there. So, you know, every cloud has a silver lining, I suppose, and it was nice to spend time with the family and the 2 babies, and we had a wonderful time, and I collected these presents, of course, and gave them their Christmas money, and had a couple of wonderful meals. My sister did a lovely vegetarian chili con carne. It was absolutely delicious. That was on the Saturday afternoon when I got there. And Sunday afternoon, Stacey, that's Gary's wife, my nephew's wife, she came round and done another Christmas dinner, which was again wonderful. And I had corn fillets, which were very nice, and Linda McCartney sausages and all vegetables, and lovely roast potatoes we had, and it was lovely. It was really, really nice, and we were all there and had a nice time. And that's it. And then Gary brought me back on the Sunday night, quite late. And then that was it. So, of course, New Year's Eve, Monday, I spent sitting here watching the telly on my own, which was the weirdest thing ever, because that's the first New Year's Eve I have not worked since I was 18 years old. So 18, 28, 30, for 31 years. The first New Year's Eve I have not worked for 31 years. Unbelievable. Really, really strange feeling, but it was very pleasant. And I watched a film on the telly, The Nun, a very old film actually, The Nun's Story with Audrey Hepburn. Have you seen that one? Oh, beautiful film. So I watched that, and the cat was on my lap, recovering most of the time, just curled up on my lap, and I had a little bit to eat and stuff. You know, I don't drink, so I didn't drink. A couple of cups of tea, and midnight came and went, and then I went to bed, and that was it. So there we are. Quite a nice time. The other thing that happened New Year's Eve was that I thought I'd try out on my bicycle, and I got on the bike, and that was no problem at all. So I was able to cycle, and of course, you know, you're cycling up and only, do you know, I could have done that bloody job tonight. But there you go. You know, you couldn't take the risk of letting people down. So I'd rather it was done definitely than by, you know, me. So perhaps I'll be able to do it, perhaps I'm not, and it's not fair on the venue. And so I cycled. I thought, well, I'll go swimming New Year's Eve, you know, something to do. So I cycled to near Wokingham, and can you believe I got a flat tyre on the bicycle? Oh, God. And it was an instant flat tyre. It was a... Oh, no. And where I was, I couldn't repair the bike, and it took me an hour and a quarter to walk the bike home, by which time my knee was starting to ache a little bit. But there we are. It's just one of those things. Anyway, so the same that same afternoon, I took the wheel straight into the repair place, and they put a new tube and a new tyre on there as well that he highly recommended, that are very puncture resistant. No tyre is perfectly puncture resistant, but some are more than others, and this was quite an expensive tyre for a bike. It was £35. But he highly recommended it, and when you feel there's a very hard edge right round the middle of it, which hopefully will sort out. So there we are, and that was my New Year's Eve. So I've had 3, but my sister, I rang up my sister. I said, "Oh, you never guess what's happened." She said, "I've had a flat. What's happened?" I said, "I've had a flat tyre on bike." She said, "That's okay." She said, "That's your 3rd thing." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Bad things come in 3s. So Katie was very ill. You hurt your knee, and now you've had a flat tyre. That's it." And on New Year's Eve, it all happened. You know, it all finished New Year's Eve. So I'm kind of hoping 2013 is a fresh start. All the bad things are out of the way, and we're starting all over again. So keep your fingers crossed for me, please. Alrighty. Let's do some emails then. Don't forget, we're on Twitter now as well. ChrisReardonUK is my Twitter. Okay, ChrisReardonUK is my Twitter, or at ChrisReardonUK if you want to send a message on there. Email address to the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. How are we doing? Oh, we've done half hour already. Look at that. Okay, so sent on the 26th of December. This is from Jonathan. Hello, it's Jonathan here. Hope you are well. The last few emails I sent you have been bouncing back, so I thought I would try using my Yahoo. I've copied the last email I tried to send below. Yeah, we didn't get any of those at all. Don't know why they're bouncing back to you, my friend. He says, I've been meaning to write to you for quite a while now. This isn't really a reading out email. I just watched your most recent show and I'm sad to hear about Katie. Are there any updates? Well, as you know, Jonathan, she's much recovered. Her blood levels are now normal, so I'm just waiting to hear from the vet actually to tell me that everything's all right now and I don't have to go back again. By the way, not that I'm complaining, but I have to tell you, it has cost me quite a lot of money with Katie. In the end, up to this point, I've spent about £1,200 getting her well again, but it is money well spent, and I just feel sorry for those people that can't afford to look after their animals like that and put them in little animal hospitals to make them better and what have you. And indeed, some people, they just have to let their animals go because they can't afford the vet bills, and I think that's very, very sad indeed. But fortunately, I'm a little bit more fortunate, and I was able to afford them, albeit it's very hard to see that money leaving your account, dear. But a lot of money, worth every penny, because she's better now. Jonathan says, having never owned a pet, I can't pretend to know what it's like, but my best friend recently lost one of her dogs. I'm not saying that you will lose Katie. Well, I don't think I will now, but I did think that on Christmas Eve. But she was deeply distraught when her dog was so ill, so I can understand how you must be feeling the same. She's very lucky to have such a loving owner as you. That's Katie. Always remember that. It must be difficult doing the line of work that you do, where you always have to be smiling, but I'm sure I could speak for the rest of your fans in saying that we are all thinking of you. Thank you very much. Yes, I do. Even when I'm unhappy about things, I do try and keep smiling when I'm at work, and indeed, perhaps I would say that people that listen or watch the show probably know me better than people who come out to clubs and bars and see me do karaoke and quiz nights and discos and things like that, because there I try and portray an image of reasonable happiness, you know, quite happy even when things are not going so well, and I think you have to as well. On this show, I think when I'm doing these shows, I think I'm a lot more honest. I think Ronnie, my best mate Ronnie, has said that before. He says you're very honest on that show, and this is probably more the real me than it is in the clubs and what have you. Jonathan says, on a lighter note, I hope you still managed to have some sort of fun during the festive break. Well, I did. Went to my sister, so that was all right. Have you any resolutions? Yes, I mentioned them on my last show, Jonathan. I want to be a better person, a nicer person, and much less selfish. And I also want to build on the mobile disco side of things that I do on Saturday nights, you know, doing people's weddings and things like that. And also trying to move towards being vegan as well, which is where you completely cut out anything to do with animals or anything like that. Jonathan says, I'm actually going vegetarian on January the 1st. The friend I was talking about is a vegan and a very passionate one. She has inspired me. I don't think I could ever go vegan, but I will choose organic free-range dairy from now on. Not ideal, I know, but it's still a bit better. Yes, it is. You go at your own pace. You know, I certainly didn't think I would become vegan. I became vegetarian, right? And that's coming up to 2 years now. And on the way, I found out more about animals, even the ones that are free-range. They still have to be killed, don't they? You know, if you're going to eat them, they still have to be killed. And the whole dairy industry thing is a little bit worrying as well. So you do what you want. And how's it going, by the way, Jonathan? Because we're now 5 days into January. How are you going with your vegetarianism? Is it going okay? Are you doing all right? You know, give it a good go. See how you get on. It's frightening when you say you won't lose weight being a vegetarian. Well, I actually put it on. I've gone from being 10.5 stone to almost 13 stone this year. The older you get, the harder it is to lose weight. You're not wrong there. But I know I'm just greedy, and yes, I can also very easily polish off a jumbo packet of Walker's crisps too. And that's just for starters. So like everyone else, January will be about losing the pounds. Anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing some good news about Katie on your next show. Have a wonderful week, and it's from John. So there you are. You do know the news already, of course, Jonathan, that Katie is indeed a hell of a lot better. I'm pleased to let you know. Now, how are we doing on time there? Let me see. Let me see there. Okay. Right, so let me see. It's Larry and Chris in Texas. Hello, Larry and Chris. And they say, hi, Chris. Hope you're enjoying the holidays. We have just had the first white Christmas here in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. And it's the first time for some time. It's nice to look at, but not nice to go out in. You're the two right there. You won't get me going out in that nasty snow, I tell you. Not much of anything else going on here, except politics as usual. All doing the same as usual, that's nothing, but still getting paid. Makes you wonder anyway. Take care now. We'll talk to you later. And that's from Larry and Chris in Texas. It's nice to hear from you two. I haven't heard from you for ages. Ages. You do wonder sometimes, you know, people disappear. And you think, oh, are they still there? And then suddenly, out of the blue, comes another email. For example, like from Vicky. Vicky Gannon. How are you, Vicky? Who says, hi, Chris. I just saw you and Katie on Christmas Eve video. I'm so happy to hear that she's improving. Our animals are so precious. Their love is unconditional. And when they get sick, you can't help them. It's just a terrible feeling. I recently had an incident where late one night, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, I was giving medicine and injection to my dog. Wow, do you give your own dog an injection? I just couldn't do that. I don't think I could do that. Putting a needle in, oh, you know, when I've had injections or you have blood taken for tests and things like that, I cannot look at needle going in an arm. How do these drug people do it? Inject themselves. Oh, no. Oh, I couldn't do it, dear, no. I was giving medicine and injection to my dog Honey, and she had a reaction to the medicine, and I had to bring her to the emergency room. She was so quiet in the back of the car, I thought she had died. The doctor at the emergency room said that he understood why I was upset. I told him it was different for him. He is a doctor and he is trained to give injections. I'm just an ordinary person trying to my best to help my dog, and she is getting sicker. Thankfully, Honey is okay. We have changed her medicines, and I am being reminded once again how precious every day is that we have with the ones that we love. Well, we certainly do. We are keeping a close eye on Katie, and your love and attention and tender care will go a long way towards helping her get better. Best to you and Katie, always. And that's from Vicky Gannon. It's lovely to hear from you, Vicky. It really is. Vicky was with us. Oh, you've been with us quite a few years now, haven't you? With us for all the, when we used to do a live show. Do you remember when we did the live shows? Those of you that haven't been with us very long may will not know that we did used to do these shows live at one point. But it was just fraught with technical difficulties. Sometimes the video wouldn't work, or the sound would go wrong, and I got to the end of my tether, actually, at one point, and I completely stopped doing the shows for a while. I was so fed up with the technical problems, and I stopped doing the live ones, went back to doing the recorded ones, and it was okay again, you know. But there we are. So how are we doing on time? I think. Let's have a little look here. I'm going to leave it there, boys and girls. I've got one email left here from the lovely Marj, a nice email that she sent in on Boxing Day, which I'll save for the next show, if you don't mind me saying so. Thank you very much for watching and listening. If you didn't see the last show, then once again, can I just wish you a very happy 2013. It's always wonderful to hear from you. What you're up to, what you do with your life, perhaps your families. Have you got families? Tell me all about your families, what you get up to. This show is all about sharing our stories, yours and mine as well, all right? The email for the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. You can follow us on either Twitter. Twitter is @ChrisReardonUK, all right? @ChrisReardonUK. Or just ChrisReardonUK. And again, facebook.com/ChrisReardonUK for Facebook. Facebook.com/ChrisReardonUK. Main website for the show, www.unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Thanks so much for watching and listening. See you on the next show. Bye-bye.